Kia ora, my name's Kristian. I'm with Good Sorts Property Services, and I'm joined by my guest, Allison Gechter, also at Good Sorts Property Services, and we're trying out something new. We're trying a little bit of a podcast, name TBD. We're open to suggestions, but we're just going to shoot the shit for a little while and see what happens. Yeah, we worked together back in the day at Get in the Loop here locally.
Yes, before Good Sorts, there was Get in the Loop.
Yeah.
And so, oh man, how long have we known each other for now?
Gosh, I guess we met back in, it would have been like 2019 or something like that. It was pre-COVID,
Oh,
yeah.
yes, before then.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's crazy.
And so we worked together for a couple of years.
Yes.
And then COVID hit.
And you went off.
I went off, yeah.
And you said, see you later.
Yeah.
And then I went fully remote with Get in the Loop. And as cool of a transition, I guess, back then when you get to work fully remote, there was something I felt kind of after doing a few months of remote work for that company of kind of missing the office vibes and missing the people.
Totally.
And because obviously following you and seeing kind of your ventures after Get in the Loop and what you were starting for yourself, although obviously cleaning and janitorial, not an industry that I was super familiar with back in the day, I just knew that you were somebody that I wanted to continue to work with.
Well, I'm honored.
You're welcome.
So, yeah, I guess the whole remote work thing was a bit of a shock to the system, hey? So COVID hit, March 2020. Everybody's got work from home orders. I know a big reason that I worked with Get in the Loop and being a newcomer, I guess, to Canada was to meet other young folks. You know, we got paid terrible money, but we love the people, right? You know, so getting that work from home order was a big adjustment. I think a lot of people are going through that at the moment, right? And are now being forced to get back into the workplace as a trend.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, I think I think everyone was a little bit excited first off the bat. It was kind of felt like, not a vacation, but like, hey, we can do this all from home now, which was, I think, nice for a lot of people, but 100% not growing up in Kelowna, you know, work is where you meet your friends and meet people in the community and kind of solidifies that home base. So yeah, definitely. I think after working a few months, all I needed was a few months of remote to kind of make me want to go back to the office. But yeah, no, that's kind of when, I probably reached out to you, probably only a few months kind of into that was probably, when you started your own thing. And I wanted to catch up. Yeah.
I mean, gosh, like thinking back, so I think it was like July of 2020 and we'd been working from home for probably 4 or 5 months at that point. And we had some sort of summertime skirmishes where restrictions were lifted and put back on again and lifted and put back on again. But I feel like for me, at least, a big part of my role there was franchising and getting other people into business for themselves. But I think for me, the sort of the itch was there to kind of do this for myself. You know, I spent so much of my career, I think, preaching to other people about how good it is to be in business for yourself, control your destiny, the whole gambit of reasons why you should do it. But having never done it myself, it felt like the right time. So, starting that off the side of my desk, and trying to get the brand built. I think we had a shoestring budget of $1,000 to get our brand, which is still our brand today, our website built, and get some listings up there, eh?
And look at with all the, and I think this is a theme that we keep seeing, but even from those connections from that startup that we all worked with, a lot of those people have made an impact on the brand. I mean, not to mention the brand helped work with you to set that up. But it's kind of come full circle with a lot of people that we met there, help giving us a hand in different areas, whether that's the brand, marketing, or other areas. We're not really where we, I wouldn't say poached necessarily, but met really good connections
where
we worked with afterwards.
Totally.
Yeah, which is just a funny, like, you think just such a small world when that kind of happens naturally.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of shout outs. We had a few loopers come through and work with us at Good Sorts over the last 5 years. Starting off there, I mentioned our brand build out was done by Beiruz. Shout out to Beiruz. Did our full brand and got our website launched, helped me with what the design and the messaging that we wanted for the brand. And he did it for $1,000.
What a homie. And then
I wonder if he'll honor those prices today.
Yeah. And then our first photo shoot.
Yeah, Paige Ragusky.
Our first sales team member.
Yeah, Tyson Armstrong. Yeah. And now we've got Josh working with us, Josh Blanchard.
Working with a Daniel.
Yes, Daniel Andrews, helping us with our sales development. Yeah, gosh, it's there's a lot of names and faces that have continued on and been helpful in that journey along the way. I think about my brain trust too, some trusted people that over the years that have kind of helped steer me in the right direction when I've needed help and trying to cut through some complexity in the business. And Chris Pinkerton has always been a main staple in the business as well. So it's crazy to think about all of the folks that have kind of helped us along the way from that springboard at Get in the Loop back in the day.
Exactly.
So 5 years done and dusted. What do you think's kind of changed from when you started to today?
I mean,
is it the same business? Like,
oh gosh, no.
You wouldn't recognize it, would you?
No, honestly, not to. I mean, obviously the big thing is moving spaces and kind of going from the home office to our little closet office on Pandosy, and now our big kind of outfit on Ackland has been a really crazy kind of progression to see when you stand back and actually realize where we started from. But not only that, I mean, obviously the team's grown in size quite immensely, not just the office team members, but the frontline team members. Like when I started, you had 4 cleaners, I think, 4 or 5 cleaners. Some part-time, I think maybe a few out of that handful was full-time. And so fast forward to today where, 50 plus frontline team members, and then what is it now? 7 office team members, maybe more than that. It's insane. Yeah,
it's an entirely different business to what it was. And I remember, setting this up in my spare bedroom, getting some desks organized, and that was home for a little while. It was home, and it was home for Good Sorts as well. It was like a bit of a train station too. We had team members picking up supplies from my basement up in the KV.
Shout out to the KV.
Yeah, you know what? I miss it. It was small and it was tight knit, but I think a lot's changed in that too. Like we've. I was on the tools a lot, even when you jumped on and sort of just after year 1 was done and dusted. I was still out there swinging mops and getting dirty.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Just thinking now, like to where we're at now, it was just really you and I handling kind of the admin side of things. But not only that, we, sales, finance, marketing, kind of, tag teaming and doing a little bit of everything to now where we have full, a team that's actually a person doing each of these functions, which is just, crazy to think about. It doesn't feel like that, that long.
Yeah, time flies, and I think you touched on it too a little bit. Our shift from the home office into our first space at Super Square, and that was an enormous moment for us. We were going from the hot, the sun was cooking us in my spare bedroom, and to moving into Super Square, and I think that was that theme sort of runs through. Everything and we've done as a business, it's been very much a thrifty approach, and so that office and that how that came to be was just reaching out to our network, our clients, to see if they had spare space, and we worked something out and worked out a really good deal for us to occupy a little spot at 3030 Pandosy Street.
Another shout out to our guy Owen for having our first spot at SOPA, which was just an incredible loved the neighborhood, loved our time, miss our time in Pandosy. But it's great. That's where I feel like we really started to build the culture. You know what I mean?
We were definitely hitting our strides at that point. I think it was a bit of a bullpen, hey? And I think there's value in the bullpen model. You know, we had 4 desks kind of crammed together, and it was myself, we had Tyson in sales, we had Tiari running operations, yourself next to me. But everything got done in that room. And I think there's a lot to be said about that sort of layout and that setup of having the bullpen. And, you know, as we've graduated into the new space, I kind of miss you all, right? You know, we have closed doors and separate offices. And
the pod mentality, there's no other option but to be close. And I agree. The first thing I said when I came into the new office was very cool, but I miss everybody. And there's something to be said about the pod style of it's just really easy to decisions are made right on the spot. It's does away with internal communication when you're all right there. So it makes everything quite speedy. Maybe we need to reintroduce it.
Yeah. I guess we've got kind of the way we've set up the space today, we still have a bullpen for
That's true.
Really our operations team. And I think what we were missing in that last space and how it was set up and how it was designed is our storage of all of our equipment and our materials was sort of separate to the office. And so what's new about our space today is we can almost force interactions in a way where our frontline team are coming through that front door, having an interaction with our operations team, with our sales team, and that they're able to kind of converse and keep people apprised as they, you know, and I guess that's a big culture piece too, right? When you have a space that's set up intentionally where you have to interact with, the broader team to be able to go and pick up your keys and your equipment and get on with your day. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, we're almost shifting it to the front line and in terms of trying to build that culture out more in this space, where we did that very well with the admin team or the office team, we'll call them. And that's, I think, probably been one of the biggest pros of this new space is, getting to see the team members, whether it's part-time or full-time, come into the building and just getting a little bit more interaction and face-to-face time. And I think that's, you know, how our frontline team members also feel valued in a sense when they feel kind of connected to the bigger idea in the broader group. So, I mean, I hope they feel that anyway. But.
Yeah, totally. I want to talk a little bit about some of the lessons that we've learned along the way. You know, we've gone from, I guess, a scrappy, thrifty operator. You know, a lot of the decisions that we made around purchasing equipment and stuff were driven by what our clients were, you know, wanting and seeing. But what do you think some of the lessons or takeaways over the last 4 years, what do you think's fundamentally changed over the 4 years, or decisions that we've made that, things that we've learned in the last 5 years that make us kind of, I guess, better operators today?
I think that, well, I guess speaking of the culture is probably our kind of beer and barbecue test. I think that kind of helps us in terms of just building out the team and working with people that we enjoy working with. And as far as operationally, like, I think it's just kind of night and day probably with how we operate now. We just have so many more players, and which is great for, I think, having more people, more opinions, but it's good in a sense. And I don't know. I feel like although like the kind of culture that we built at the beginning is still rings through today, I think that, I mean, we're experiencing right now that our processes and systems are, I think, ever changing to kind of keep up with the growth that we're having. I know that doesn't really answer the question, but I feel like we're ever changing right now, you know?
It's, and I think when you kind of get to different stages of complexity in your business, and it's whether that's headcount or revenue, and you kind of almost have to get through these complexity lines as the business grows and scales. And we've implemented a few things to kind of help us operate at a just differently, I guess. When we really follow that Gino Wickman's book on traction and that sort of entrepreneur's operating system, EOS. We've adopted a lot of those ideas, and I think that's been pretty fundamental on how we operate and move things forward, because I think as the business grows and scales, it's very easy for it to become less agile. It's this big beast that when you're trying to make a decision, it becomes harder and harder to make shifts. And so I think this operating system that we've adopted has helped us to kind of surface issues faster and give us a bit of a framework to create focus and prioritize changes and shifts in the business. But that's not to say it comes without its challenges. I think technology has been a big one for us. When you're a small, scrappy operator, you tend to find different tools that kind of do, certain aspects of your business or certain aspects of your processes really well. And then the hope is that they stitch together and you can, get tools to work together, whether it's through the Zapiers or the Makes and stuff like that. But, as our businesses developed and our headcount has increased and our revenue has increased, the touch points that we have with customers has increased, there's more and more complexity inside of that. And I think what's been really instrumental for us is adopting that EOS approach, defining our culture and values, celebrating or recognizing people with those in mind, folks that do it and own it, the number 8 wire mentality, having a people first mindset, all of those things ring true in how we hire, how we fire.
I think traction was, I think, a very pivotal moment looking back. I think having to establish, not only core values, but I think establishing our 3 uniques and kind of having that form, obviously not just what, separates us from, I guess, competition, but having that kind of also be the marketing strategy or something always to come back to in terms of just describing how we're different has been monumental. And I feel like a lot of companies that were much further along before we did that exercise, who don't do that exercise, I think people sometimes, especially when companies kind of get to around that 50 people, it's sometimes everyone has a different way of describing either what the company does or how they do things differently. And I think this kind of, in establishing that EOS kind of framework, and our 3 uniques and our, target audience and our niche and all of that, it just really kind of gives you something to come back to that's always true and that reigns true for the brand. And so that, we could have 50 employees, 100 employees, and that answer would be the same. Do you know what I mean? I
do. I think there's a saying, it's, culture eats strategy for breakfast. And I think in this case, I think we developed a bit of a clearer view of what our strategy is, but in absence of that strategy, I think the culture was robust enough that we got through and we got by to get to where we are today. But I think that in tandem with this EOS system has really helped us to surface issues through our issues tracker to be able to triage issues and decide what is a priority and what is actually a priority, and then sort of more importantly help us decide what to say no to and keep us really focused on what we're working on and how we're trying to develop. But I think a big focus for us this year and kind of culture has been a fundamental piece of how we've been successful over the years. But as we scale, I think it becomes more important to develop tools and share information with the people that work inside of our business to give everyone the same level of access to information. So learning management has been a really important piece in our business. So rolling out Trainure or Good Sorts Academy, as we have kind of white labeled it, to give the team access to a whole knowledge base of videos and content to help them understand and be better at what they do every day.
Yeah, I think it's about kind of, even coming back to our last quarterly meeting where it's just like ensuring the foundation of the house is in order. And I think that definitely reigns true when it comes to, the processes, dispersing information, being transparent about everything, which I think we do is something that I think is different from other companies that I've worked for in the past, is just kind of how transparent everything is with information. But yeah, 100%. I think that, and I mean, I don't really know how I don't know if there was a method to having this culture be born, if that's just, just a credit to the people that were with us at that time and ourselves. But I do think that, we've created a competitive culture, to coin it. And I do think, though, that's gotten us here. And now it is, like you said, it's coming back to kind of making sure that what was in our head is out, and knowledge is available and ready for everybody, and just giving everybody kind of that base knowledge to help them succeed in their role. So
I think we've been really fortunate too to see a lot of our team members that have been with us for a number of years. And I think, like, switching gears a little bit, talking about the industry, our industry is faced with a number of challenges, particularly here in Canada with the climate around, we'll call it low wage labor, and particularly with newcomers to Canada, with the change of government, with the Carney government coming in, and I guess a platform of that or election promise was really around limiting the number of temporary workers here in Canada, and I think that's had an enormous impact on our business, and it's becoming a lot more challenging, I think, to attract top talent. And so I think that's where our energy and our focus, you talked about one of our uniques being a people first, or having a people first mindset, or a people first approach. And I think that's what actually makes the difference in our space, is if we're able to work on our brand as an employer, provide our team members with benefits, with great training, with fair wages, flexible working schedules that fit in with their lives. All of those things together compound to create a better employer brand, I think. And we see that pay dividends as well, as far as the results that I think our frontline team are able to deliver for our clients by having really intentional employer, we'll call it employer branding, and employer, we'll call job design, has really helped us a lot. But I think it's only going to get more challenging as well, with tightening around immigration. We've got a lot of really talented people that work with us that unfortunately we can't really find a pathway for them to stay here in Canada. So I think that's going to be a real challenge that we'll face here here in our market.
100%. And industry. Is going to face. Yeah, totally. It sucks. It sucks.
Yep.
It sucks. I mean, not only you're getting to know these people on more of a personal level, and they care so much about their job, and for obviously reasons, because, they're looking to make a home here. And it's even more challenging, I think, as an employer for those to help get those people to stay.
The Okanagan is a pretty vibrant place. Kelowna has grown massively ever since I've been here. I've been here now 10 years. I came out here for a ski season, and boy, was it a different place. I remember going out on Sundays and everything was closed, right? And now you look at today, and we've got all of these towers popping up all over the place. Not sure to be mad about it, or there's two sides to it, right? From a business standpoint, I think it's been incredible. We've been able to follow a lot of our clients and how they've grown, but it's kind of missing some of its charm a little bit too, right? Like, what have you noticed over the last? When did you move out here?
Yeah, so probably 9 years ago. And from Alberta, and I mean, what I loved about Kelowna first moving here is, yeah, you kind of get that big city feel a little bit. And like coming from a small town myself, you kind of get that a little bit of a bigger city feel without the commute as much. And yeah, no, I feel like when I first moved here, we definitely had like a very happening nightlife a little bit. But now it's just like world's difference. Like we have so many good little restaurants that keep popping up that are new and local. Yeah, just so many. I feel like it's just really adding to the kind of the city vibe for sure of Kelowna. But I think that like a big issue when I first moved here was obviously finding somewhere to rent and how limited options, especially being young and, you know, not having a lot of money to spend on rent. Like Kelowna was a little bit intimidating. I think coming as a young person and then trying to find somewhere, hopefully you don't have too many roommates with you. But I think that has changed immensely from where we were at there to now almost having that kind of, again, seeing these high rises go up, seeing so many of these rental buildings come up. I feel like every time I either drive downtown or just drive anywhere, a new building's popping up. And I don't know if that's the kind of
everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, that can be a good thing. I know that there's some cons to that as well. Especially when it comes to our world, as well as, you know, with us being our primary focus being janitorial care for a lot of multifamily apartment buildings. You would think these this swarm of new buildings that we're seeing would be a good thing, which I mean obviously it is, but at the same time kind of looking from these, you know, the perspective of the rental companies. Probably maybe a little bit disheartening. I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
You know, your reflection on the rental market's interesting. When I first landed here in Canada, you know, my first stop was Big White. You know, I went to work up there for a winter season, and I remember I was cooped up in a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom condo up on the hill with 5 other staff members. I think I was paying $700 a month to have a bunk bed with 2 other dudes in the room and 3 gals next door sharing, you know, one shower, not all at the same time.
Make that clear.
But you know, I think the market shifted. There was definitely a really tight spot there where there was a lot of pressure. COVID hits, right? And a lot of folks out of the Lower Mainland that have a lot of equity in their homes, you know, work from home orders, decided, you know, maybe Vancouver's not all what it's cracked up to be, and maybe I'd like to come and move out to Kelowna. And that created a lot of pressure, I think, on the housing market here locally, which was great for new starts and new construction, new builds. And we saw a lot of money flowing into new projects, new rental buildings. You have obviously the change in government and some of the rules and restrictions around short-term rentals here locally, and I think that's had a massive impact, and we've kind of seen the pendulum swing right back over. And I think a lot of our real estate investment trusts that we work with are feeling that. You know, there is a lot of Airbnbs that were initially, I guess, purchased as an investment to kind of have a lot of short-term rental type properties, and you know, when that kind of that rule changed overnight, you know, I think a lot of people either sat on empty condos, you know, reluctant to rent them out to long-term tenants, or they made the decision to rent out to long-term tenants. And all the while, we've had this massive influx of thousands of new doors with a lot of these wood frame construction multifamily projects popping up all over the place. And I'm not sure what's in store over the next little bit here, if we'll see a shift in policy, particularly with our vacancy rate where it's at. But I know that creates pressure in the construction industry when obviously units are not selling, pre-sales aren't kind of what they used to be. And so we have a lot of developers that are sitting on units or buildings, we'll say, that haven't been able to, you know, fully be sold. So I think that's a big challenge in the market right now. And I think that flows through to the rest of the economy. When construction slows, that creates pressure on everything else that feeds here locally, at least. And the other massive impact was around tourism. We see short-term rentals drop, and we don't necessarily have the hotel inventory or enough beds here to competitively price and make Kelowna a destination over the summer months. So I think it's kind of this perfect storm of challenges. But I think we'll see a bit of a correction here this year. But my hope is that we're able to fill some of these rental buildings.
Totally. And it was. I think even when we first started in this business, we saw so many companies be. Their main source was Airbnbs. Like, that's just what they did. Airbnb turns. And so, it was, definitely a big change in the industry. And like you were just echoing with a lot of these, rentals not filling up and a lot of these vacancies. It's, sometimes great to be a renter, obviously, in this kind of climate. But it's interesting to see how that just impacts different, all these different industries, whether that's trades, constructions, the real estate investment trusts, all gets kind of, impacted by it. Totally.
I think there's it's not all been, bad, particularly in our market, from a labor standpoint, our team members have been able to find more affordable accommodation. I think there's an adjustment needed to happen. I think it was probably quite a dramatic shift, but an adjustment needed to happen to help sort of the cost of living piece here, particularly in Kelowna. So I think in many ways that solved that, but I think there's again that pendulum swung right over and maybe a little bit too hard, and I think we'll see a little bit of a correction. But I think also tough times, here locally and across Canada, really impacts, I think, how decisions are made. So, a lot of our clients, for example, are watching every dollar that goes out. And I think in the boom days, where money's flowing freely and things are good, if you like the person, you're going to spend some money with them. And I think as things tighten up and sort of money starts to be a little bit more restricted, I think it's not a race to the bottom necessarily, but I think clients are looking for more value in relationships, and so they want to go deeper, I think, with some of their vendors. And I think downtimes, the really good operators are the ones that kind of emerge when that sort of pendulum swings back, and business or the economy improves. I think those people that have good businesses that are smart operators and really understand the value drivers and what they're offering to their clients will come out on top and really be in good stead for when things pick up. And so I think it's really, I wouldn't say easy, but I think it's easier obviously to be in business when times are good, but it's when times are a little bit tougher and there's this sort of constricting that's happening that you really need to be able to communicate the value that you provide or bring to the table as a provider. We've had a couple of recent scenarios, where we've met with clients and we've quite openly challenged them, where they've sought out multiple quotes or multiple proposals. And you see this time and time again where how do I put this politely? Where other providers in town might not sort of follow the same standard or maybe even play by the same rules as the rest of us. So I think there's a real duty for anyone that's engaging any sort of contractor to really do your diligence about not just what are they providing to you, but how are they providing it to you? What are their workplace practices? Do they pay people a fair wage, particularly in some of our more, I guess, vulnerable sectors? I think it's really important for clients to take that time to do their diligence on the brand and really understand who they're getting into business with, and do their values align with your own values as a vendor. So that's my word of advice to anyone that's looking to engage with a vendor: is do your diligence and really understand their workplace practices to make sure that they are playing by the same set of rules.
Yeah, who are you getting into bed with at the end of the day? 100%. And if there's, whether that's a trade you're dealing with, a cleaning service, or whatever kind of service that you're dealing with, before getting into this industry, I probably would have, you look at prices, you get quotes for things, and, typically your thought is, let's go with the cheapest quote that we got from all these providers. But it's a really good reminder, I think, to, like you said, are these people kind of playing above board? Mm-hmm. Are they following the rules? Mm-hmm. And I think more times than not, a lot of people aren't. Mm-hmm. A lot of players, I think, in our industry are not. And it's because, you're already dealing with a vulnerable population as your kind of workforce. And I think that it's just easy for those types of people to get taken advantage of mm-hmm. by their employer, mm-hmm. Not following practices. And I think that's how we see, there should be kind of a red flag when you look at if you're sourcing a bunch of quotes and there's somebody that comes in drastically lower than the rest of the players that you've gotten quotes from. I think that should be a red flag and mm-hmm. not necessarily a green flag, which a lot of, I think, people might look at it as, mm-hmm. right?
Mm-hmm. 100%. Mm-hmm. When you heard about the name Good Sorts, when you were thinking, oh gosh, what's Kristian up to?
Yeah.
What was your first thought? What did you think Good Sorts meant?
Good question. I did think like good sorts, just meaning good people. Mm-hmm. I think that's what I can recall, or like, again, kind of understanding that it was that you were putting together a janitorial cleaning company. And then then when I did research and looked at the website for the first time, Good Sorts, for me, obviously not with a New Zealand background, I thought, oh, good people. And maybe it's because of my connection with you already, and having a friendship with you. Maybe that's why I felt that way. But I know that, people sometimes get confused with the name, probably the name going with the service or what mm-hmm. we provide to people.
Yeah, and I think a lesson I think I learned along the way as well is, I tried to paint a broad brush or broad stroke, I guess, when we called it Good Sorts Property Services. And property services, I think, doesn't also, bring up to the surface or bubble up to the surface exactly what it is we do. Mm-hmm. I think for a new brand that maybe doesn't have the recognition in the marketplace, being vague about what you provide or what you do and your brand is probably something that a lot of people could avoid.
Yes, it's a harder route.
Thinking about their name a little bit.
Yeah.
I think these days are probably gone a little bit where you choose a domain name that people are searching for.
Well, your SEO
probably going by the wayside with what we're seeing as far as artificial intelligence and how people conduct their searches today. Mm-hmm. So that might be a thing of the past. But I think about a lot of these brands out there that are, the A1 plumbing or A1 garage doors, because they would show up at the front of mm-hmm. the phone book.
Great tactics. Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think that was an error or some poor judgment, I think, as well. And I think there's some cultural differences as well. Janitorial is not a word that we use in New Zealand. We just call it, commercial cleaning or something like that. Janitorial, I think, is a very North American term. And so when I decided on Good Sorts Property Services, I wanted to signal that we provided a lot of things. But I've had a lot of, people that have met me for the first time or have interacted with the brand for the first time being really unsure about what we do. So I often get, are we in property management? Yeah. Does property services just cover things on perhaps the exterior of a building? Mm-hmm. I've had good sports, fairly frequently.
The number one.
Yeah. But I think over the last 5 years, particularly locally here in the Okanagan at least, I think that, our vehicles are cruising around town all the time. We're very, active in the community. That Good Sorts, I think, as a brand has almost started to kind of take on a little bit of a meaning of its own. And I think, sort of hailing from Kiwi roots and New Zealand roots, a term that is, probably seldom existed here in the Okanagan is now, I guess, unique to us. It's our own. But I think the inspiration behind that brand, calling Good Sorts, was that 6 o'clock news segment on a Sunday night. We'd at home, we'd tune into Channel 1 News at 6:55. They'd have the Good Sorts highlight, and that's kind of the feel-good moment of the news segment. It's kind of similar to like the Casey Clark show in the morning, the good stuff. It was about highlighting folks in the community that were going above and beyond for others. It was about Sally, who volunteered at the local soup kitchen, or Jimmy, who was quilting, to for sick kids and stuff like that, right? It was an opportunity to create a little bit of community, and I think that was the piece that I kind of clued into. Is a lot of brands out there talk about what they do. They in our space, at least in the janitorial space, it's sparkly clean cleaning services, or wet mopping services. It's more about the what. And I think that was something I really wanted to make sure we got away from, was let's not talk about what we do, but let's talk about the people that actually do it. We're operating in an industry where we're very seldom seen. A lot of our team members work in the dead of night. A lot of our team members will never interact face to face with our clients, and so I think it was important to, I guess, shine a light on the folks that actually make a lot of this happen behind the scenes. So that's kind of where the name Good Sorts was born from, was this 6 o'clock news segment. And I think it really embodies a lot of the things that we're about. Good sorts, meaning good people. And it's about pulling your weight and taking ownership and just going above and beyond for others and for yourself, and expecting more from yourself and from others. So
I loved that you chose that name, because it does kind of connect to where you're from and your roots. But I think it is such a still. And I mean, obviously, lots of similarities between New Zealand and Canada, but it is a really Canadian thing as well. I feel like highlighting the people behind the scenes that are doing the work that I think most people kind of, take for granted, or really just don't think of when, you turn up and your space is beautiful and clean. Sometimes you don't think about who does it. And so I think that I'm, super proud about being a part of something that, a company that, it's not about the results, it's about the people. And it's about highlighting them and the work that they do. Definitely.
And I think, again, getting back to employer branding, I think that's been really helpful for us. And we're I guess we're in a spot now where we're very fortunate that our name is becoming a little bit more recognized. Our team members are referring within, and we're able to be kind of growing our business with individuals that understand what we're all about, and that's been really critical. But the property services thing, I wonder if there'll be a time where we can drop that altogether and it's just Good Sorts. But kind of touching on that a little bit on property services, and I guess why we wanted to keep it broad. One of our 3 uniques that we harp on a lot about is being a one-stop shop and, we can solve it all type of thing, right? And so building maintenance for us, we really designed our service offering around some of the common needs that we see property managers having, or strata managers. So not only providing things like janitorial, but what other challenges and issues come up frequently around building maintenance and how your building looks and feels and appears. So bolting on things like carpet cleaning, exterior window cleaning, pressure washing, handyman services, laundered mats, managed consumables. That's a big shopping list.
Lots
of things
SKUs
to provide.
Yeah.
I think that creates challenges too, right? Something I think a lot of advice that I've been given over the years from my brain trust is focus. Create focus in your business, and there's definitely some challenges with that, right? And I think being able to select some good subtrades, we have mostly employees, which I think is a little bit different than most janitorial providers. But I think by virtue of our size today, that complexity is kind of melted away a little bit. So we've actually created focus in our business by niching down in certain skill sets with certain individuals. If I unwind the clock to our early days, we'd kind of have the jack of all trades, master of none type of situation where, our light duties cleaner was our carpet cleaner, was our window cleaner, was our pressure washer, etc. And that creates, I think, complexity in your business when you're trying to deliver a standard of service. But there's something to be said about creating focus in your business, but I think that can be achieved in different ways. Not just in, our focus is really on making building maintenance simple. And we can do that by offering a lot of things, but you can create focus in your business by training and spending time and energy or seeking out skill sets that are out there in the marketplace for the things that you're offering. And I think that's something that you get with a company that's a little bit larger. And we're very fortunate to kind of be in that spot now, where we can have someone that just does carpet cleaning, someone that just does window cleaning, and we can go deep with those individuals and really deliver a level of service that is akin to some of these operators out there that just do those individual, call them SKUs, so window cleaners, etc. So I think that's been a really interesting challenge to overcome, but I think size in some ways matters when you're trying to scale your business. But what that does call out, though, is when we expand, right? So looking at markets outside of our own, how do you address that challenge and get through some of that pain of ramp up much faster? So, for example, if we were to parachute into Victoria, because I'd love to be have a little spot in Victoria. That seems like a nice place to go and visit every once in a while. But I think that's something that we'll probably experience some challenges around of how do we scale a business in other markets where we don't necessarily have the same access locally to talent. So there's something I think about the early days where having an owner or someone that is the expert in the room that's actually doing a lot of the work. I think that's why it probably worked for a little while.
Well, I was just going to say, kind of come back to about like, obviously when you first started and you kind of having to be the master of all of these kind of, whether that's operations manager all the through to a carpet cleaner. I guess as like a business owner, being able to, not perfect all these skill sets, but to be able to train yourself in that, and whether that's getting courses for yourself and then being able to then, I guess, hire for the job and kind of release yourself of those responsibilities is kind of like I feel like method that we took a little bit earlier on. And it worked out for us. And I also just think, regardless of, the, I guess the nature and how we kind of added, say, some of those SKUs, some of those services, again, was kind of waiting for the client to tell us what they needed and trying to be their solution. But I also feel too that there was a big customer service element that came into this, where I think our client base wanted to keep coming back to us to almost do other things for them. And I think it's because of how well we communicated with them versus a lot of, not just in the cleaning industry, but just a lot of trades just, haven't nailed, I think, the communication or the customer service aspect of the biz.
And I just don't think in this day and age you can really get away with being sloppy. Having spaghetti sauce down your front and, not returning phone calls and not returning emails. I think these are basics. And I think there are a lot of tools out there that are available to, smaller operators, smaller owner operators to help them with a lot of these things. And so, in the day and age where I can pull up my phone and get, a nice meal from Central downtown and delivered all the way up in the KV, and I can do that with a few taps and it's at my doorstep in 30 minutes. I think that sort of mindset is ubiquitous across expectations of our clients. But I don't think trades in general, I'm painting with a broad brush here, have really cottoned onto this. Chatting to my mother-in-law about her organizing trades to do a little bathroom reno. A tile setter can take weeks to get back to her to get an install done. And so I don't think you can get away with that for much longer.
And I wonder if that maybe it's because, I guess, coming from, I guess, a SaaS/tech/startup kind of realm. I wonder if it was just kind of like, I wonder if we just took that, because I feel like we do with Good Sorts today anyways, and thinking about our competitors in the landscape. I find that we definitely operate like more of a tech business sometimes than a cleaning business or a service-based business. And I think that it'll be difficult for other trades or other people in our industry to not operate like that anymore.
I think there's some intentionality too in terms of the individuals that we bring on. You talked a little bit about the beer and barbecue test, and that's a really important culture element to make sure that you vibe with the people you work with every day. It's kind of your second life, right?
Truly.
You leave home for the day, you say goodbye to your partner or whoever, and you go and spend time with your work wives and husbands and for 40 hours a week. So, that beer and barbecue test is really important. But I think I've been really intentional too about not hiring from within industry. A lot of our team members, particularly at an administrative level, have not come from facilities or janitorial backgrounds. We came from technology and technology sales. We've got team members that have come from hospitality backgrounds,
advertising,
a whole gambit of different experiences and skill sets. And I think the culture that we have at Good Sorts is one that's really agile. We're kind of building the car as we're driving it, and we're always, I guess, pushing the envelope and testing boundaries and sort of going, well, we don't have that, I guess, that same habit, I guess, or where you can kind of fall into similar routines because we're not coming from industry necessarily. So
how things were done. We probably look at things or challenges maybe a bit differently, not coming from industry, and how to solve it. Hey.
But it's a tough environment to be in too, right? When you're, think about technology startups at large. You're constantly iterating and the goalposts are always moving. And I think that can be quite exhausting as well, right? When the work's never finished. But I think that rings true in our number 8 wire mindset of always wanting to innovate and adapt and find solutions to things. And I think that, one of our mantras at Good Sorts is if you phone us, we're going to solve your problem. And no matter what the problem is. And it's not necessarily that we will be the one to solve through our services or through our team, but we'll certainly help connect you to folks that can help you. And I think that's a really important mindset for anyone in business to have is everyone is in sales and everyone is in customer service. So picking up the phone and having a mindset of this is a problem that we can't solve directly, but we can certainly help you get in touch with someone that can, or maybe we've had an experience with someone where we can refer. That customer is going to put that phone down and go, oh, good, that was helpful. These guys were helpful in solving a problem or a challenge. And I think that takes a certain level of a discipline, but also there's a cultural element there of talking about it often. And we're in the solutions business at the end of the day, not necessarily in the cleaning business.
And I also think that's come tenfold back to us. Not only do we either point somebody in the right direction or perhaps refer them to a partner that we've worked with closely and can vouch for, but I mean, it's come back to us as well, just kind of the word of mouth and referral, especially with the business community within Kelowna. A large portion of our business in Kelowna anyway has been referral and working with other people in Kelowna and having those connections and fostering those relationships and pointing other people towards other businesses as well that can help them out and solve other people. I also think when you solve, perhaps you didn't directly solve a person's the reason why they're calling, but I think they remember that. Yeah,
totally. Quick fire questions.
Oh gosh.
Kelowna favorites. Let's talk about it. Favorite restaurant. What's your favorite place to go for tea at night?
Ooh, my favorite nighttime restaurant. Oh, Tom and I have been on a big, we love Gechter.
Oh yeah.
That's our, the service, the vibe.
The carbonara
in particular, and their drinks, phenomenal. I think another favorite, I mean, I guess it's not a very big chain at this time, but we love King Taps. We love their pizza.
Oh yeah.
Whether we go in person or we DoorDash it or Uber Eats it.
Patio's open soon.
I know. Yep. I can't wait.
I'm looking forward to that.
What's one of yours? Jog me right now.
Oh my gosh.
I'm trying to think. There's
so
many.
My staple, my Kelowna staple is Central. Love a good sandy at Central. Can't beat a key lime pie at Cactus Club too. Love a little bit of dessert over there. We just had an awesome experience over at Bernie's as well.
Okay. Oh, Bernie's is so good.
The food is unreal.
And I mean, an Earl's or a Cactus Club, you can't go wrong. Addicted to the food at Earl's.
I think a big one too, that's more recent for us with our young daughter is we're always trying to find places where we're going to feel comfortable, right? We're not, distracting everybody from their experience. And I think a really good place that we've found is B&A Burger.
Really?
Just quick. And there's so much going on that our daughter's, 20 months old. She can, there's enough going on in the room that she's, keeping interested and keeping entertained. And the food is unreal.
Well, good. Unreal. That's funny that you say that because I think it's also for everybody that works downtown, their favorite lunch spot with their deals on their burger deal, burger and a beer deal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't. B&A is Kelowna.
Oh, yeah.
Like when you think of...
Those Nixon guys know what they're doing.
They know, keep it up.
Oh, yeah.
And now Vernon, I guess, is...
Oh, Vernon, Penticton.
Is
taking over.
Yeah.
What about fitness spots? Touchy subject.
When I've gone.
Who's killing it in Kelowna with in the fitness and health space?
Well, I have recommendations from other people. For myself, I think Pronify is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of my top yoga studios in Kelowna.
Love a Sunday yin class at Pronify, Pandosy Village.
Well, their schedule, they just have classes going on throughout the day, which is super nice, especially, when you're working, 8 to 4 and 9 to 5, you can always kind of find something that's going to fit. Another one that I've tried out a lot of Pilates, and there's some really, I think they're popping up everywhere. There's some really good new places like Nifty. I know there's a spot called Sunny Spaces, but I know I've been here, and you're probably not going to help me out with the name. There's one that starts with an L, and I'm blanking on it. But everyone seems to just be loving going downtown to this very fancy Pilates space that we should probably try. Mm-hmm. We should go.
We should.
But other than that, I've been going to New Movement in Glenmore.
Nice.
Because it's
2 locations,
Yeah, they have 3, I think.
3 locations?
I think they have 3.
Wow.
Pandosy area, Glenmore, and I think they have one other spot. Yeah.
Nice.
What about you?
I'm a sucker for Orange Theory. I think I've been a member there for... Gosh, probably 5 years now.
You're drinking the OJ.
I am. I think great people there, and they just. I'm the type of person that needs a bit of a kick in the butt. I need to be told what to do.
I need to exactly Tom's like, you can go to the gym for half the price, but I won't.
Coach Peter's watching me. He's keeping an eye on my form.
We all need a Peter.
Giving me a whip. But no, when I get there, I always enjoy it. It's been a little bit look at my puku at the moment, but no, love Orange Theory.
Yeah.
Favorite spot for beers?
Oh, I think for beers, I'm going to go with probably, again, and it's just because of the patio, King Taps.
Oh.
It's just because I like the water. Yeah. They have good beer too, but yeah. Although there's so much like Redbird, really good kind of outdoor space. Rustic Real, I really enjoyed.
There's something about cutting your pizza with scissors too.
Yeah.
It's iconic.
It's iconic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are a couple of mine.
Mm-hmm.
What's coming to your mind for beer spots?
Barn Owl.
Oh, yeah. How could I forget Barn Owl?
It's I am ashamed that I think all of the staff know me by name. They probably know the last 4 digits of my credit card. I spent an unhealthy amount of time there, but the beer is good. The vibes are good. It's a great historic barn with milk shed attached next door. It's just a staple in our I'd like to say a kind of a once a week, but there's a little bit more frequent than that.
Well, I think it's such much needed too, to the kind of like the Mission neighborhood kind of bordering Kettle Valley. I think that they needed a spot like that, and it is such homey vibes at Barn Owl. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what are you watching at the moment?
What am I not watching? That would be probably an easier list.
Yeah. Tell us about your subscriptions.
No. Let's not go down the rabbit hole. Well, I'm watching anything Housewives. Mm-hmm. So whether that's Beverly Hills right now, watching the new season of Vanderpump, anything reality television I'm on. But I guess we're pretty sad to see our Traders come to an end. That was a big highlight of our
Housewives fix with the Traders. How good is Ellen coming?
Yeah. So good.
Traitors.
But this is why you need to get into the whole Bravo-verse, the whole Housewife-verse, because then you're going to connect with all the Traders. Yes, you're going to see like the Lisa Rinna will make sense of it all. Yeah. You'll connect the dots with everybody. Yeah, those are a few. Although, Tom and I, what have we been watching? I know there was we just started I'm gonna butcher the name because we looked up juror and that wasn't wrong, but I think it's called jury duty, and it's essentially one person is not in the know, and they think that they're basically this one's about the first season was about being on jury duty, and basically everybody's an actor except for one person. And they're just like,
brutal.
Yeah, doing this story, and he thinks it's like real life. And so they've done season 2 now where it's this person and he's joining a company. The company's fake. Everybody in there is fake and are all actors, but he thinks it's real. And he thinks
sounds like Pont.
Yes, I know. It basically is. And you're just watching this person go through the motions and react. And yeah, no, it's a good watch. You need to add that one to your list. It's a good one.
I've been watching Paradise at the moment.
What is Paradise?
Oh my gosh, it was. It started off. I was like, oh gosh, this could get a little weird.
Is this like another Love Island type deal? Oh, okay.
No, it's not reality TV.
Okay. Then I don't know of it.
No, it's like natural disaster. But Brie and I, it's funny. Before I met Brie, I was kind of into sci-fi. Loved a little Lord of the Rings and stuff like that. Yeah. And Brie just complete opposite. She's a school teacher, for God's sake. So, you'd think she'd have a little bit of imagination, hanging out with young fellas all day. But she cannot handle anything fantasy, nothing that's sci-fi.
I know, that's why she's not getting it.
Is a little sci-fi, and we're kind of into it. So the first episode was kind of giving her the side eye, like, are we going to make it?
This?
Are we going to make it? Because there was a real twist at the end there. I won't give it away, but definitely worth a watch.
Where are we watching this?
I think you can watch it on Hulu.
Oh, okay,
which is that no,
Disney
Hulu. All
okay.
Right, little plug.
Okay.
Favorite podcast at the moment?
Mine? Amy Poehler. I forget the podcast name, but it's Amy Poehler's podcast. And I think she just did one with Steve Carell as the guest. And I'm looking forward to that one. Yeah. But it's just a comforting, funny, easy laughing podcast. And she brings on top tier guests. And I've been enjoying that one really for a while. And then I guess for ones that is just because I don't know if you have like your more so educational or like keeping up with current pop culture.
My bookshelf, and it's like that's all.
You're very self-help.
It's a lot of self-help.
See, then I listened to another podcast called Giggly Squad, and it's just girls shooting the shit. So much probably like.
I think I need a little bit more variety in my repertoire, to be honest. I'm very big on Steve Bartlett's Diary of a CEO.
Yeah.
Mind you, getting a little bit, off topic with that at the moment. He seems to go on all sorts of tangents, but Huberman, enjoy Huberman's podcast. But I think I need a little bit more fun in my life.
You do. I was just going to say, I'm like, love all those choices when I want to, I guess, learn something new.
Use your brain.
Yeah, use my brain, but sometimes I never want to use the brain. I know.
Yeah.
Shut it off.
Just want to watch Survivor sometimes,
Sometimes I just want middle-aged women fighting on my screen and just listening to it. It's calming, it has soothing effects.
Yeah, it just puts you to sleep.
Yeah, you need exactly.
Nice. All right. Well, I think we'll wrap it there.
We'll wrap it up.
Thank you for turning up today. Thank you to my guest, Allison Gechter.
Special guest.
Special guest.
Who's on next week? TBD.
Thank you for coming.